Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and joining me is Tyler Bevel.
Hey.
And our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
This is our Week 6 London game, 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock games, and Sunday night football reaction. Tyler.
Yeah.
Decent weekend of football.
Yeah. More injuries than I would have liked, but
yeah. More scoring.
Yeah.
That's nice to see. What was your favorite play over the weekend?
Oh, Najee touchdown down the sideline.
I knew it. Najee, finally. Mitchell, do you have a favorite play?
Well, Ty always takes mine.
I should let Mitchell go first.
Caleb Williams is that pump fake to the left, then to the right, and then down the middle to Cole Kmet. That was nice to see.
We will talk some Caleb Williams very quickly here. My favorite was David Montgomery's first touchdown run. Dude trying to grab a hold of the shirt, just ripped it and spun out of him, and then banged off another dude and drove through. That's just David Montgomery's a beast,
monster.
Man, Dan Campbell loves that guy. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs right there, and he's like, keep feeding him.
Yeah,
it's great. It's awesome. All right, we got a lot to get into, so we better get moving. Let's start with the London game, where we had the Jaguars 16 and the Bears 35. Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Rode some of that wave into this week at least.
He sure did. That's what we were hoping to see. Stacking 2 games back to back like that. 23 of 29, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 32 fantasy points, and he just keeps getting better, more efficient. His offense is going right along with him.
Yeah, and maybe some of that was we just need to give him more time to get the whole offense on the same page. I don't know, but I know the last 2 weeks it's looked a lot better.
No, it's Carolina and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, his line gave him more time, which means, like we talked about last week, Caleb had a chance to process, go through his progressions. There were a few times where he went through every look and came back to the first read in a beautiful fashion. He's taking what the defense is allowing, capitalizing on defense's mistakes, whether it be through penalties or through play calls. He throws the ball away when necessary, takes necessary sacks. Overall, he's making good decisions. He did have a bad pick on a wide open DJ Moore. He just simply underthrew him. But those things will get fixed. They're already getting fixed. Like when you look at him from week 1 to right now, I think a lot of this just boils down to the line giving the kid a minute to do his job. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and he's definitely processing some stuff better, taking a couple more checkdowns. A lot of improvements there.
He will be going into his bye week. Just let me double check this.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it is perfect timing. And when he comes off the bye, he's got Washington, Arizona, and New England.
Plenty of confidence boosters there.
If you are a team that streams quarterbacks and he's available, I don't care if he's on bye. I mean, if you're a streaming guy with QBs, this might be a good ad. Washington, Arizona, New England straight off the bye.
Yeah.
Gets tough, though. The rest of the season from week 11 all the way to the fantasy finals. Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, San Fran, Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle. That's a little tough.
Sure.
But we'll find out. We'll see how much he's really growing. He'll get some of these softer matchups and see if that can grow into some of these, the division contests that are coming up. Minnesota's really, really good. Keenan Allen getting on the same page as Caleb.
Yeah.
Looked healthy, back to himself. Caught all 5 targets, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns, 21 PPR points. The fade that Caleb threw him in the back corner of the end zone was a thing of beauty.
Good pass.
Right in the bucket. Cole Kmet spiked this week, catching all 5 targets as well. 70 yards, 2 touchdowns, 24 PPR points.
Ooh-wee.
Keep starting him?
Yeah.
Does this feel Lions-like? Like to where there's DJ Moore, there's Keenan Allen, there's Cole Kmet, there's Roma Dunes, there's DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. A lot of mouths to feed.
Makes it kind of tough.
Even from a catching standpoint, Cole Kmet 5, Keenan Allen 5, Roma Dunes 2, DeAndre Swift 4, DJ Moore 4.
Spread it right around.
Yeah.
So
it's a tough one. Probably, I think he is startable for sure. I mean, he's obviously going to have some good games here and there. Consistency might not be
right, but I think that's outside of just a few guys.
Very true.
That's kind of where we are with the tight end landscape. tired of saying that phrase. DJ Moore and O'Dunes down games. Like we said, mouths to feed. DJ Moore almost had a bomb touchdown. O'Dunes he's a tough start in most redraft leagues. You really can't, right?
No.
Like your typical 12-man PPR redraft league, like you're not starting O'Dunes.
No.
He's involved. That's good to see, as far as dynasty goes. That's good. He's definitely a hold there. Better weeks to come for DJ Moore. I just think it was Keenan Allen's week, man. They're starting to get on the same page with each other, and it's not like it was a ton.
Yeah, well, I don't have Keenan Allen, so.
Again, it was 5 targets for 41 yards.
But he had the 2 touchdowns.
It's just his week, man.
Yep.
DeAndre Swift.
Good week.
Hey, real quick before we move on to DeAndre Swift, is your order still? I mean, we can.
I got to keep the order the way it is still.
DJ Keenan, O'Dunes.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe even throw in Komet between O'Dunes and Allen.
Fair. So he's your 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. All right. DeAndre Swift. He's benefiting from the offense starting to figure itself out. 3 games in a row with 19 or more PPR points.
Yeah.
That's 3 games in a row with 21 or more total touches. This week, 17 carries, 91 yards, touchdown.
He's a good fantasy back.
Yeah. 21 PPR points. It's
nothing bad here. 5.4 yards a carry, 91 yards on the ground, a touchdown. He caught some passes.
He's
perfect.
Pumped, too.
Yeah.
Man. Easy start till otherwise noted. I'd love the volume. I'll
even make the argument for him that in the next 3 weeks, things are probably going to be very good. When the offense is doing good, DeAndre Swift seems to be doing good.
Yep. Did you mention his yards per carry?
5.4.
5.4, yeah. Yeah, he looks good, man. Keep starting him. As far as Jaguars. Ugh. I mean, all game long, just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I don't think you're trusting any of these backs at this point.
No.
Dearness Johnson getting 6 carries, Tank Bigsby with 7, Travis Etienne 3 for -1. Good game.
Well, he got knocked out of the game.
He did, but
early, too.
3 for -1.
I really thought when that happened, I'm like, oh, boy, here goes Tank Bigsby.
Oh, Dearness Johnson coming in to steal the show. Let's talk about the main thing here, Chad.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
How many in that video, was it 6 or 7 or 8 dropped touchdown passes in one game?
At least 5.
Right on the money.
Yeah, not
Trevor
hard to
Lawrence,
catch passes.
Not when they're right there.
No.
Trevor Lawrence is good, man. There is a playmaker problem here. A terrible defense. Christian Kirk is a 3 on most teams. You're relying on a rookie. Evan Ingram's back. That's good. That'll help. You got really no run game to speak of.
Yeah, but because your other receivers are Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis, teams are already keying on
a rookie.
Yeah, Brian Thomas, and that's tough for any rookie. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, Evan Ingram had 10 catches. It was like one of the few reliable targets he had out there, and he had a drop.
I kind of said my piece on Trevor Lawrence, was it like 2 weeks ago or a week ago?
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of drop balls, man. Him doing the right thing, pressure in his face, throwing dots, and nobody catching the ball. I mean, what quarterback can be successful when no one's catching the ball when you're putting it right there?
And Nick was talking today about, he's the one who shared the video with us, that it's just a clip of Trevor Lawrence just throwing touchdown passes that are just blatantly dropped in the end zone.
Terrible. It's, I don't know, lack of playmakers. You want to blame some play calling too, but like when the ball is being thrown to open receivers, I mean, open NFL receivers, not wide open, NFL open. Right. You got to catch the ball.
Got to catch it.
I don't know. People are frustrated in Dynasty with Trevor Lawrence. I'm sure.
The buy.
I think he's a buy.
Yeah.
You have to, like, if you're a rebuilder, I hate giving potentially bad advice, but you have to think that they bring more talent in going forward, like next year and beyond. They just signed the kid to 5 years.
Yeah.
Just signed him.
You have the money issue, though.
Right. So how are you going to pay these free agents to come in?
You'll get one. I mean,
there's all the cap shifting, though. Like, let's be honest. The cap is like...
Yeah. Problem is you're in a division with a team who is stacked right now and is not paying their quarterback.
Yeah. Yep. True.
that's going to be one of the biggest obstacles. Even if you guys get them playmakers and stuff, and you're bringing them in, something's going to suffer because you have a $260 million quarterback, and there's just not enough love to go around. And eventually, Brian Thomas takes off. He's going to want to get paid.
I don't know, man. It's not like yeah. So what do they do? I mean, you're just
they're going to be fine, and I think they get some playmakers around them. They'll be competitive. They'll be better. But I mean, it's not. Like I said, I mean,
they need T. Higgins next year. That's the kind of moves that they need.
I would love to see T. Higgins go to
I
Jacksonville.
would too. Brian Thomas Jr. is now your number 2.
I do think T. Higgins is a 1 on most teams.
He is. I agree.
So to me, that's a perfect match.
I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about ETN. We talked about all the pass catchers. You got anything else?
No.
I mean,
none of the. You're still.
You starting Tank Bigsby next week?
If you have to.
I mean, ETN could be out now. It's a hamstring and a shoulder.
I know, but
misses time.
Like they literally him and Dearness Johnson split carries beyond that point. That's I guess you're not confidently starting any of these people at this point. Even best start you have, in my opinion, is Brian Thomas or Evan Ingram. Those are your 2 best starts.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to the 1:00 games, and we'll start with the Buccaneers 51 to the Saints 27. Chris Olave knocked out early with a concussion. Bub Means filled his role, 15 PPR points.
Bub Means.
Bub Means.
Love the opportunity. Love him doing something with the opportunity, though.
No interest outside of Dynasty.
No, but in Dynasty, by all means.
Sure. Didn't look bad. Shaheed's target stayed about the same, but only ended up with 1 catch. Right?
Yeah.
Do I have that correct? Nick and I asked who changes, who stays the same.
Yeah, and it's tough with Olave going out of the game to really make
7 targets. That's about what he's getting anyway. It went down over the last 2 weeks. Before that was 11 and 9, but 7 with a quarterback change.
Right.
You could do a lot worse. Assuming Olave is back next week, fading or keep starting the wide receivers with Rattler.
Fading.
I hate it, but I think you're right.
I've seen a lot of good things out of Rattler, but from a fantasy perspective, you need to start stacking some wins right now, and I'm saying I'm fading them.
Rattler started out okay.
Yeah.
He started out quite efficient. I think things just got a little too far out of hand, for him to be able to. It was asking a lot, man.
It's a tough team. Bucks are good this year, too.
Division game. Yeah, that's tough. Kamara's still Kamara. 18 total touches, 64 total yards and a touchdown, 17 PPR points. He's just having a year.
Yeah.
Nick and I said downgrade Olave, downgrade Shaheed. Kamara stays the same. Kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
Olave got hurt. Who knows there? Maybe he gets what Bub Means had, and we're talking very differently today.
Yeah, and it's different, because some of the longest passes caught by the Saints in that game were Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson.
Yeah. What's going?
Yeah, I don't.
You still stay away from Juwan Johnson?
Oh, yeah, but I'm just saying it was odd, so I can't really trust the receivers for the Saints moving forward with Spencer Rattler until I see something better than Sunday.
Okay, that's fair. I just think that.
But absolutely still feel the same about Kamara.
I think I would still have to start Olave, but you're flexing him.
Yeah, and it depends on your situation.
True.
You got 4 good wide receivers.
Kamara was taken pretty high. I hope you drafted receiver heavy.
Yeah.
Again, Kamara's still Kamara. There may be a game or two with Rattler where it's just too much to overcome.
Right.
But you keep starting them with confidence. You have to. Baker stays Baker. 29 fantasy points through 3 picks, but the 4 touchdowns and 325 yards and 29 rushing overcame the picks. He's been a steal, man. This is just more proof you shouldn't draft a quarterback high in one quarterback redraft leagues.
Oh, you could have got Baker for nothing.
Yeah, you could have got Jaden Daniels for nothing.
Yeah.
It's insane. Mike Evans, locked out of the game. We knew he would be. He almost always is. Chris Godwin boomed as we figure he would. 11 catches, 13 targets, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, 35 PPR points.
Ooh, baby.
Chris Godwin went from mid-range flex in the preseason.
This was his best year,
to,
right?
a must-start high-end wide receiver too with one upside.
I don't remember Godwin being this good with Brady.
This is solid.
Yeah.
This is real solid. You got to be ecstatic to have him on your roster. He looks so good. Dominating his routes. He looks more physical than I can remember. He almost seems faster. Am I wrong? Everything about him just looks so much better this year. He's the top of his game right now. I mean, that's a smash start every single week. Even when Evans has his weeks, it seems like Godwin's having quite passable weeks.
Yeah.
14, 13, 16.
All right, we good on these wide receivers?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Who the hell does this Sean Tucker guy think that he is? What is going on here?
I liked him last year in Dynasty. Tried trading for him a lot. Couldn't get in with the budge on Sean Tucker. Yeah. And then I just kind of thought well, here comes Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker's kind of cast away. And now, boom, Sean Tucker.
That was ridiculous.
Insane. Bucky Irving, 14 carries, 81 yards, 5.8 yards
great
per
game.
carry.
That's great.
2 catches, 24 yards, 19 PPR points. But Sean Tucker, out of left field, 14 carries, 136 yards, 9.7 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, 3 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown, 33 PPR points. Nobody started him.
Dude, I have a dynasty where I have Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, and I'm like, who the hell do you think you are, bro? What is going on?
They both look better than White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have White on my team. I'm mad that it's
sure. Is Sean Tucker an ad?
Yeah, he's 9.7 yards per carry.
Is Sean Tucker an ad? Did you watch the game, Chad? Idiot.
I don't know how he would not be an ad. I mean, even thinking from a perspective of okay, you tell me that's not going to earn you a couple touches? I mean, it's going to something.
I mean, if White's out, you got to imagine this kid sees work again.
I'd put a good portion of fab down on him.
Oh, man. I don't know the total extent. Do you know what's the extent of Rachaad White's injury?
I don't know.
So, Rachaad White, it's a foot injury. So, I mean, hard to tell.
Yeah.
If he misses time, I mean, that's the thing. You can't just throw Sean Tucker in your flex next week?
No, but I want him on my team in a dynasty.
No.
I have dynasty leagues where I'll be like, yep, this is as good as it gets. Sean Tucker coming at you this week.
All right. Bucky Irving, you got to love that you picked him up. Got to love to have him on your roster. He looks really good, man.
Yeah.
I know Sean Tucker really
throwing me for a loop, Chad.
but Bucky, man, with his opportunities, look really good.
Yeah.
This is what you hope to see. Kate Otten, interest?
No.
6 targets. Only caught 2, but scored a touchdown. 11 PPR points.
Yeah, there's interest there. But in the current tight end conundrum, yeah, there's interest there.
I love it. All right, let's move on to the Commanders. 23 at the Ravens. 30. Hey, you'll take Lamar Jackson's 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think you expected more coming into this game, but
this is what I'm
you definitely are happy with that. I mean,
when he plays these games where it's like, oh man, he's up against a good defense. Oh, Lamar Jackson, 34 fantasy points. Then he plays against Washington, you get 20. I don't know. You just expect more, I guess,
right,
for where you took him. But what do we tell you about Zay Flowers?
Yeah.
The man is absolutely lethal with the ball in space. He's relentless. Call all 9 targets, 132 yards, 22 PPR points. Don't ever consider sitting Flowers. I know it was this weird narrative a few weeks ago. Ignore it, please. He showed the last 2 weeks why he's such a valuable fantasy asset. He's a must start. Double digits for Bateman again. 11 PPR points. He now has 3 weeks under 10 PPR points and 3 weeks over 10 PPR points with 11, 11, and 15.
I feel like it's trending in the right direction, though.
Kind of do too. It's either that, or do you think he is just a piece that will just be weekly frustration?
Oh, for sure.
Can't figure out when to start him.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Are you adding him?
Yeah, if I don't have anybody else to add.
You got to be backed into a corner.
Yeah, if you're like way deep on the waivers and you're figuring, well, I'll stack him with all these other guys that are probably not going to be there. He's worth throwing in that loop, right?
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Mark Andrews showed up, 3 catches, 4 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown. 15 PPR points. Tyler, still fading?
Yeah.
You gotta. Just not enough there, man.
Still only 3 catches.
Derrick Henry is absurd.
He's Derrick Henry.
The man is a unicorn.
King Henry!
In 5 of 6 weeks, he's given you 16 or more PPR points. I mean, what do you want me to say? He's been as steady as they come. The dude's like trying to tackle a maple tree. It's so dumb to watch. Like Taylor Rapp comes in to take him out, take his legs out, leaves the game with a concussion.
Oh, yeah.
You get a concussion trying to tackle Derrick Henry. I'm not laughing at a concussion, but that's ridiculous. I mean, people just bounce off this guy. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. There'll never be anything like this ever again. Jaden Daniels, staying consistent. This guy has been like the best freebie that you could ask for as far as redraft goes.
Rookie of the year?
Yeah, probably so. 5 of 6 weeks with 20 or more fantasy points. He is yet to hit 300 yards, but that could be coming as soon as this next game against Carolina.
Who cares? This kid's still getting you like a pile.
No, I mean, get that. But the point is, when he hits 300 yards and does what he's doing,
over.
I mean, it's coming. That game's coming. You know, at the end of the day, he just has Terry McLaurin. Then it's just some guys. Luke
I hate the comparisons to like RG3's first 5 games, and like it's like, shut up. He's Jaden Daniels. He's not
a different guy.
Right. I get it. Like, then the numbers are really close. Rushing, touchdowns, everything's super close to like what RG3 did in that rookie year where he just came out of the gate. But like,
well, it was me and Nick.
Why jinx it?
I took Lamar Jackson's numbers and compared him to Jaden Daniels. I don't know if you listened to what me and Nick did last week. They're right on par.
Yeah.
You took Lamar early. Jaden Daniels in a lot of leagues didn't even get drafted.
Top 5 quarterback versus.
They're like right there.
Yeah.
I think Lamar's averaging around 70 yards a game. And Jaden Daniels is around like 60 yards rushing. And they're both around like the high 200 mark for yards per game. So like they're essentially the same as far as fantasy output goes. And you think we're the ADP.
Even like, and you're talking like, you know, you don't even like look at Justin Fields. He's thrown half the passing yards that them guys have, and he's still putting up great fantasy points because of what he's doing with his legs.
Yep. The legs that's what does it, man. And he's got Carolina coming up. So be happy you got it. McLaurin looked great. 4 straight weeks of 14 or more PPR points. Is it safe to say now that we can elevate him to set it and forget it receiver 2? 31 targets over the last 4 games.
Wide receiver 3 flex with wide receiver 2 upside. Still looking, takes touchdowns away, you're looking at 11 points. Still a good game, but
right.
It's not. So he's still high-end flex with wide receiver 2 upside. Some of my argument to that is like, again, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of spreading around here. He got 6 receptions, but I mean, Zach Ertz had 4. Noah Brown had 4. Austin Eckler had 4. Lemonade Zacchaeus had 4.
Yeah, they really are spreading the ball around. Yeah, I guess I'm not quite there yet. You talked me out of it. Zach Ertz, 5 targets, turn him into 10 PPR points. Ertz or Otten rest of season?
Otten.
Really? Give me Ertz.
Fair enough.
I'll take Ertz. All right, yeah. Anything else for that game?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to the Cardinals 13, Packers 34. Whew. Kyler bust. Kyler Murray. Is Kyler Murray a boom or bust quarterback?
So far this year he has been.
Things just don't seem to be lining up well.
No.
Like as far as consistency.
If Harrison hurt,
it's 12 fantasy points. Oof.
I'm trying to come up with a different plan if I have Kyler in a redraft.
Scale of 1 to 10, faith moving forward.
4.
6 for me. Though it is outside of the 30 and 24 point output he's had, his other 4 weeks are 14, 15, 10, and 12 fantasy points.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it a 6 as far as like the faith scale, if I may.
I think the play calling for the Cardinals is very bad in this game.
Yeah.
Not that I'm making excuses. Kyler's still been bad, but this was like one of the first Cardinals games where I've got to like sit down and watch the full game of it. I mean, a couple other ones, but I watched the Bills Cardinals in week 1 full game, but I don't know, just like how they went about trying to start drives. Like Trey Benson, 5 carries, 26 yards. Amari Demercado, 4 carries, 25 yards. James Conner, 7 carries, 24 yards. What are you doing?
They asked about Benson. It's like, well, we just Conner a little break. And I don't know. They didn't really have much to say about it. I'll give Kyler a 6 going forward. Just the rushing upside. I've seen him break out of these molds before. But if you can get off of him and someone like me has higher interest than the average, you probably should make that move.
The only wide receivers that caught passes was Michael Wilson with 2 and Greg Dortch with 3. That is it.
Yeah.
That's
Trey McBride had
not a good
targets.
recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey McBride.
It's a concussion, right, for Harrison?
Yeah.
You hope he's back next week. You hope it's not like Neighbors.
Right.
But I did call a Michael Wilson touchdown this week, so I'll take a victory lap on that one. May have been due to Harrison being hurt, though. But I called it. It hit. Taking my victory lap. 10 PPR points, but he's a flex, right? Michael Wilson with upside still. Trey McBride, again, hit big. 8 targets, 96 yards, 17 PPR points. Must start tight end. Sure-handed, super reliable for Kyler, and he needs that right now.
Yeah.
If Marvin Harrison misses time with a concussion, I believe McBride benefits with the target share more than anybody.
Yeah, Wilson getting the second most.
Sure, second in line. Yep. Does that elevate Wilson to just like still a flex, but
better,
a little
flex.
higher consideration?
Yeah.
Okay. I talked about James Conner, only 6 PPR points. This is a bad game all the way around. I don't know.
Packers bullied him a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Along with Kyler, Conner just suffered also. I mean, you keep starting the guy. Do you let it waver your confidence? Or no?
It's more the play calling for me. I don't know. I'll give you Trey Benson. Amari Demercado got a lot of touches in this game.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came out of nowhere. We ain't talked about him. Like, he's gotten a couple touches in games, but we haven't talked about him since before the season.
I
just don't get it. Unless there's something we don't know. Like, maybe he's banged up a little bit.
I was wondering that. Like, I hope he's not, man. Like, if he booms next week, you don't move him and get off of him, right? And sell high?
No.
Or do you?
There's some worry here, though.
Yeah.
God, if it's going to be like that, you're not even talking a timeshare. You're talking a 3-way split.
Well, they've got the Chargers next. It's tough.
Have fun.
Then they got Miami, Chicago, the Jets. You can run on them. The Jets are tough, but you can't really throw on them, but you can run on them. Then a bye, then Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle, New England, Carolina, and the Rams to round it out.
Yeah. He has a good boom week. Maybe shop him around. That schedule sounds pretty bad.
That's pretty rough. And I hate saying this because we go to bat for James Conner.
Oh, I love Conner.
Me too.
That, but
it's just things are looking a little rocky. Arizona as a whole. It's not.
Yeah.
I asked Nick last week for this game, Love or Murray. He took Love. I took Murray's rushing upside. Oops.
Yeah.
Good call, Nick. Bad call, me. 22-32, 258 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 29 fantasy points. I think the rust is off.
Yeah. And Nick did say to tell everybody that like he's smarter than you. So.
Yeah.
So, I'll take this opportunity right now.
Love is back. If you had concern, I'd say
another quarterback that you could have got. Could have waited on quite a while.
Pretty late.
Came away with Jordan Love.
Yep. Listen, he looked great. Yeah. He spread the ball too quite a bit. Love spread the love. Sorry,
right, we're reaching now. What's the next game, Chad? Jesus.
Mitchell, edit that out. Watson had a TD. Reed had a TD. Dobbs had 2. Wicks left the game with an injury and did not return. Reed left with an ankle injury, but did return and finish the game. Reed landed you 14 PPR points. Watson with 15. Dobbs with 20. 2 questions. 1, rest of season. Reed, then Dobbs, then Watson, barring injuries?
No.
No, what is it?
Reed, Watson, Dobbs.
Okay. Reed led with 6 targets to 4 for Watson and Dobbs. Okay, so you're going Reed, Watson, Dobbs.
Yeah, I think some of this was getting Dobbs back involved after the incident there.
Question 2. Does Dobbs and Watson returning shatter all the Wick's hope going forward? Watson looked quite healthy, and I think that's a role that Wick stepped in.
Yeah, possible.
Okay.
I would say yes, but I don't know that for sure, but I would say yes.
Scary. Scary to start Watson or Dobbs in your flex also. Scary.
Yeah.
It's the way they spread the ball around, but Reed remains receiver 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacobs got you double digits, 11 PPR points, 21 total touches against a terrible run defense. Should gain you more than 11 PPR points.
Yeah.
You keep starting him, but if you can upgrade somehow and get someone who believes in him, to pay, then I would.
3.4 against the Packers ain't good.
No. Against the Cardinals, you mean?
Or against the Cardinals, I'm sorry.
Okay. Listen, maybe find the team who's panicking, like get the running back position and see what you can get.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the Colts 20, Titans 17. We'll try to make some of this quick because I have a big rant to go on about one certain player. I don't want to start a single Titan not named Pollard.
No.
Let's make this short. Pollard had 20 total touches for 93 yards and a touchdown, 18 PPR points. He's laying it all out there. Well, everything around him is just like, ugh. Levis totaled 7 fantasy points. Ridley finished with 0 and had 8 freaking targets. Hopkins finished with 9. Permanently fade all Titans outside of Pollard. Tyler?
Yeah, stash Taji still. I don't.
If you have Pollard.
Yeah.
Okay. Pollard looks good.
He does.
For as bad as everything looks in the Titans, Pollard looks good. Fairly bland on the Colts side. Tyler Goodson outdid Trey Sermon, 10 PPR points to 3. On 18 carries, Sermon averaged 1.8 yards per carry.
1.6.
Oh, you got 1.6. I even lied for him. Goodson took 8 carries for 51 yards and averaged 6.4 yards per carry. I still want to avoid both of them.
They should really get Evan Hull in there.
All right. Pittman went from an IR candidate to suiting up and giving you 12 PPR points, 3 catches on 5 targets for 35 yards and a touchdown. Fine, I guess. Josh Downs had the big day as far as Colts pass catchers are concerned and had the best fantasy day of all skill positions. Josh Downs is good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Josh Downs or Michael Pittman?
Josh Downs.
Yep.
7 catches, 9 targets, 66 yards and a touchdown, 19 PPR points. Do you only feel comfortable starting Downs if Flacco plays?
No.
Okay. Can we talk some Josh Downs quick?
Yeah.
Okay. It's nerdy stuff, and I wish I had time today for those who are listening, the whole 7 of you, to explain it. No, I hope there's a lot more at this point. We can do a show on metrics and deep stats and whatnot in the future, but for now, when I say it's good, just trust me, like it's a good thing.
Yeah, listen up here, both of you.
18th in yards per route run. 15th in formation adjusted yards per route run. That's one I wish I had time to explain. His route win rate is 68.7%. That's first in the NFL. 53.6% win rate versus man. That's second in the league. 79.5% win rate versus zone. He's 13th in fantasy points per route run with 0.58 fantasy points per route run. That's something. That's with 2 missed games, and he is 35th in fantasy points. He's still available. This is your last chance to add him. This is it.
Yeah.
Now, with all that said, there is a problem. Almost 0 of everything, all the production I just went across.
Let me guess. Is not against cornerbacks.
Has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson.
Oh, that's okay. That was my point. Like when I'm thinking of that, it's like all those numbers are great, and that's still a really great thing. But this is like one of the few guys who gets to line up inside all the time. Not saying guys don't move, but he's definitely getting a lot of mismatches in some of that too, which is good for him.
That's great.
Yes.
All you're looking for is the points, right? It doesn't matter how you get them. So Richardson is most likely returning this week, if not the following. He almost did this week. I'm sorry. Yeah, returning this week. He almost returned last week. the silver lining here is that Downs is the exact type of receiver that Anthony Richardson needs right now. Downs' average depth of target is 6 yards.
That's why I'm confident in him going forward.
Me too. I was hoping that you would say that so that we could agree. Yes. Exceptional hands. Only 2 what would be considered drops on 35 targets. That's pretty damn good. Listen, Richardson and Downs are super close.
Jaguars would be jumping up and down.
Yes, they would. Richardson and Downs are like, they're tight. They're super close, tight-knit friends. He might be the element that gets Richardson going. Remember, Downs didn't play the first 2 weeks. He returned the game that Richardson got hurt against the Steelers.
Yeah.
So we haven't got to see a whole lot there. He might be the element that gets Richardson going, and that's my Josh Downs rant.
Okay. That's a good rant. I agree with it.
All right, let's move on to the Texans 41 at the Patriots 21. Well, we all kind of saw this coming, but there were some not so bad things coming from the Patriots side with May under center, right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
I've seen much worse first start outings.
Against a tough defense.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, he was tossed out against a rock solid defense for his first start. It's a tall order. It's a big ask. Not too shabby. 20 of 33, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 22 fantasy points. I mean, you didn't start him outside of like Dynasty Superflex, but
moved the ball.
Yes,
that's the biggest.
Yep. And guess what? He brought somebody along with him.
Yeah,
Demario Douglas, immediate boost. 6 catches on 9 targets for 92 yards and a TD against a tough Texans secondary. 21 PPR points.
Take it
all day. They got Jacksonville next on the road. You going to flex them? What do you think?
Douglas?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why not?
Flex worthy.
Yeah. If he's available, he's definitely an ad.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Booty had 14 PPR points, but I think we can call that an outlier.
I don't know, with a name like that.
Hunter Henry also caught a touchdown, got you 13 PPR points, had 5 targets, caught 3 for 41. Shifting a little faith back as a bye week filler.
No, I ain't buying this. I ain't buying into it.
It's too hard, man. It's too hard.
You're not giving me again, Mike.
Someone's got to catch the ball, though.
Yeah.
Someone's got to catch the ball.
Well, they drafted 19 wide receivers. One of them catch it.
Nothing noteworthy out of the Patriots backfield. Gibson's clearly the guy to have if Stevenson misses, but I wouldn't recommend it. Tyler? I didn't think so.
No.
CJ Stroud, 20 fantasy points. You'll take that. Threw 3 touchdowns, 192 yards on 31 attempts. He did have a pick. Tank Dell and Diggs both had great days. Dell actually led with 9 targets to Diggs 7. Dell, 7 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown, 18 PPR points. I think he's a must start as long as Nico's out.
Yeah.
High-end flex. Very high-end flex.
Yep.
Okay. Diggs caught 6 of his targets for 77 yards and a touchdown, 19 PPR points. He is a must start, obviously. And I believe until Collins returns, him and Tank both, Diggs receiver 2 with 1 upside or just 1?
With Nico out, I'll elevate Diggs to a wide receiver 1.
Do we elevate Tank Dell to a 2?
Yeah, I think it's close. I'm still saying
too.
flex.
I said that,
with
but
2 upside.
As soon as I said that,
I'm still saying flex with 2 upside, but it's like you said, it's a high end flex. It's real close.
Right there. Okay.
Stephon Diggs, I'll elevate him up to a wide receiver 1 with Collins out.
Okay. Big Joe Mixon day off of his absence for an ankle injury. He looks healed right up. 13 carries, 102 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 catches, 30 yards and a touchdown, 27 PPR points, and all that on 15 total touches.
That's perfect.
I mean, any concerns of the ankle injury? I mean, that whole thing's out the window. I thought maybe we get a little bit of a lingering thing, but doesn't seem like it.
There's good. Not a lot. I will say one thing. If you have Joe Mixon, after this week watching this game, Dameon Pierce might be the guy that you want to have to handcuff.
He 100% is the guy.
He looked good.
Yep, that was my next note. Handcuff Dameon Pierce. Probably should add him. So if you have Mixon, that's your must add of the week.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Browns 16 at the Eagles 20. Nick Sirianni chirping at fans after hearing the chant "Fire Sirianni" is so cute, isn't it? Grow up. You just beat a terrible Browns team who's even beat up in the secondary.
And
you're fresh off of a bye.
You didn't beat him by much.
Yeah, go go crawl in a dumpster, dude. That's just so, man, that's not what you want your head coach doing. Anyway, looked shaky. But
you think Andy Reid's doing that crap?
No. Kyle Shanahan doing that? No. Looked shaky.
He's doing some other shaky shit, but
yeah, no kidding. Hurts was fine. He got you by 16 to 25, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 carries for 33 yards, 23 fantasy points. Gave you what you wanted. Just didn't really look super pretty, but if you have him, you start him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Barkley gave you what I assume will be his worst game of the year. Volume was there. Cleveland just wasn't having it. 20 total touches, 54 total yards, 6 PPR points. Much better days ahead.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both returned, and they both gave immediate impact upon return, as we imagined they probably would.
Thank goodness.
Yes. A.J. Brown, 6 catches on 9 targets for 116 yards and a great touchdown catch, and also the game-sealing catch was pretty amazing. Devonta Smith, only 4 targets, but made the most of them, catching 3 for 64 yards and had a long touchdown run. Gave you 15 PPR points. Brown is a 1, Smith is a 2 every week. They're back and you're happy.
Yeah, I had my belly full of this Calcaterra crap, though, let me tell you.
I told you Calcaterra can play ball.
You can, yeah.
Dallas Goedert.
He shows up once in a while, robs some fantasy points. It's like, oh.
I think Goddard hurt his hamstring, so that's no good. Wouldn't be running out there to add Grant Calcaterra, but dude can play ball in real life. The highest scoring Brown was Pierre Strong with 9 PPR points.
What a game.
I'm continuing to refuse to start a Brown until further notice. And
until Jameis.
Yeah, you all should too.
No sleep till Jameis.
Yeah. All right, can we move on to the 4 o'clock games?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about any Browns. All right, the Chargers 23, the Broncos 16. Seems to me that if you've got Dobbins, you should add Kamani Vidal.
Yeah.
Is he an ad if you don't have Dobbins?
Nah. Yeah. Desperation.
Gus Edwards on IR. He only had Kamani only had 6 touches.
Yeah,
51 total yards.
I'm not banging down the door from you, but I mean, if you got Dobbins, yeah.
I think he's an ad if you have Dobbins.
Yeah.
Like you should run to go get him if you have Dobbins with Edwards on IR. We already talked about he's not really an ad if you don't have him. Dobbins himself keeps looking good. Denver's a tough defense to run on. 17 PPR points, a whopping 27 total touches. I didn't see that coming.
No.
102 total yards and a touchdown. He's a solid RB2.
Oh, yeah. If not, fringe RB1. If you're going to get that much opportunity, it's going to get better.
Yeah, I'm using him as a 1 in your 12-man redraft. So far, so good. He's holding up to the workload, man. The talent he's had all these years is finally on display with him at full health. It's undeniable. He has been an absolute steal, and I love it. I'm on my high horse. Giddy up. Outside of that, it was pretty rough, right?
Yeah. Lad McConkey's still the only wide receiver I'm starting on this team. Even that, you're not super excited about it. Justin Herbert just doesn't look like Justin Herbert to me this year, and I don't know if it's the lack of wide receiver play. I really don't know, but it's been an odd year for Justin Herbert. Banged up a little bit too, but
is it even worth like rostering Herbert, man?
Don't think so at this point.
How about McConkey or Johnston?
McConkey
did have 8 targets. Pretty well leads the team in targets on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
I think it's McConkey or nobody.
Yeah.
We thought maybe for a minute there, like, oh, maybe Quentin Johnston's a flex, but
he can catch, but he's still not very good.
Yeah, what a bummer, man. What a bummer. I had higher hopes for the Chargers as a whole.
Yeah.
Bo Nix taking another step forward.
He looked good.
He's
I know the loss of the tough game, tough defense, but he looked good.
He is averaging 33 passes per game after 6 weeks. Ain't that something?
That was crazy.
They're throwing him right to the wolves, man. I think he's starting to handle himself quite well.
Yeah, give this kid some credit. I mean, keep in mind this kid's throwing to Cortland Sutton, Devon Bailey, Troy Franklin. Like, it's not. I think for what is surrounding him right now, the kid's doing as good as you can expect.
I agree. Yeah, like you said, his best receiver is Cortland Sutton.
He got some work done on his feet this week. 61 yards.
Yeah. Yep. Bailey and Franklin both finished with 11 PPR points, but no interest in redraft, right?
No.
Dynasty, absolutely. Sutton, though, 15 PPR points, 4 catches, 6 targets for 53 yards and a touchdown. It doesn't look pretty, but gets you the flex numbers you need in a pinch. 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he's gotten you 13 or more PPR points. He's not a weekly start, but serviceable fill-in, Ty?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, Denver just doesn't run the ball as much as you would think they would. Like we just kind of touched on that with having a rookie quarterback. And
yeah, Javonte Williams, 6 carries, Estime, 2 carries, McLaughlin, 3 carries.
In 6 weeks, Javonte has topped 13 carries in a game 1 time.
Insane, though. With a rookie quarterback, like that's just not...
But we just talked about he's averaging 33 passes a game. There's not enough room.
That's not the formula that I want to use.
That's not what I would have thought was coming. But, like I said, they're tossing that kid right to the Wolves.
We'll see.
He had 16 carries against the Jets. I
definitely believe in that a little bit. Like, the problem is there's just no patience in the NFL right now. But I definitely believe if you're on a bad team and you got that quarterback, get him out there. Like Drake May with the Patriots. Like, if I'm ownership, I'm never starting Jacoby Brissett over Drake May. Drake May is your future. Get him out there and either grow through it or don't.
He threw the ball 33 times. May did.
Yeah, but he looked like... Why wouldn't you have started that week 1, though?
I know.
I know it's easy to say now, but I would have never started Brissett. Any of those situations that you're talking about.
That poor guy took a whooping. That guy.
He did, but like grow through it or don't. Like,
yeah. Well, back to Javonte. Do we stay patient or are we starting to shy away completely?
It's a tough situation.
The talent's there. I think
it is, and it doesn't garner a ton of trade attention right now. So, man, I'll say stay patient.
Okay. If he pops next week, do you move?
If he gets a good pop game, yeah. But even then, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't know. We'll revisit that. The Steelers 32 at the Raiders 13.
You got a little Javonte hang up there. Like, you're a big Javonte guy.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We're talking about the Steelers and the Raiders now, Ty.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do
it. It wasn't pretty, but Fields got you there.
Yeah.
Say it all the time. These rushing upside QBs do not need 300 passing yards and 2 to 3 touchdowns from the pocket to give you a solid day.
They don't even $150.
Yeah. 14 to 24 for 145.
Woo!
Yeah. But 11 carries for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns for 22 fantasy points. Do we get Fields next week, Tyler, or is it Russell Wilson?
Why would you even ask me that?
Because you're the resident Steelers fan here.
Fields.
I mean, you would think. You really would think.
I wouldn't even. I'd tell Russell to get a clipboard out and you might as well start wearing a business suit, bud. Allen's the backup. You might as well start. No, not that. I think Russ is great to have on this team, but I want it to be Fields. This offensive line is terrible. I'm not saying that Justin or Russell Wilson can get away from some of that stuff like Justin Fields is. I think it's the best opportunity right now to use that mobility to your advantage.
If Fields retains the job all year, he is a top what quarterback by season's end? Fantasy quarterback.
7.
Top 7?
Yeah.
I'll take top 12.
Oh.
Well, he's still in the top 12. He could be 7. Just a bigger range, that's all. Give me top 12. But that's great. That's great, though, because that's still a huge thumbs up, right? I mean, you're talking most redraft leagues are 12-man.
Right.
If Justin Fields ends up QB 12, again, he was free, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pickens, 8 PPR points, 3 catches on 8 targets for 53 yards, and Freiermuth with 3 PPR points.
Justin Fields is QB 5 right now.
Okay, right now. Give it a minute.
What? It's going to get better. Where's your optimism?
I hope so. I have him now in your league. Traded for him, and I got off Kyler Murray to do it. Isn't that great? Where was I at before you rudely interrupted? Freiermuth, 3 PPR points, 2 catches on 3 targets for 16 yards. All right. After 6 weeks, Pickens has had 10 or more PPR points 3 times. Freiermuth has scored more than 9 PPR points twice. It feels like it's getting hard to roll these guys out. Tyler, where are you?
I'm still rolling Pickens out as a flex. Still rolling Pat Freiermuth out. Pat Freiermuth should have had a touchdown. So I'm still rolling him out. I'm not confident about it. I still have more confidence in Pickens than I do Freiermuth. I've said it. I think some of the problem is Pickens is a doucher. But the kid's got a lot of talent.
He does.
And even he had some plays that were just bad throws or called back. I mean, how many targets did he have?
8.
Yeah, still roll out George Pickens confidently.
Okay.
Probably, depending on the situation, Freiermuth also, but more confident in Pickens than Freiermuth.
Some of it's off-target throws.
Yeah, for sure.
Pickens. Some of that's got to get better for Justin Fields, but again, it's not really where his bread and butter lies as far as fantasy goes, but reality-wise, that's got to get a little better. Najee Harris finally has a day, 14 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Also had 2 catches for 16 yards, 19 PPR points. Tyler, the beginning of something or a matchup-based outlier?
Matchup-based outlier.
You hate saying it, don't you?
Yeah, but
I could
think
see
it
the
is.
pain in your eyes when you said it.
My second favorite play of the week was going to be Najee juking that Raiders dude out of his shoes.
So
he got called back, but it was ridiculous. Like, the guy just, went the wrong way. He either made a business decision or just got juked hard.
Yeah, right. Aiden O'Connell he's basically Gardner Minshew. Didn't have a single throw over 20 yards, but it was Pittsburgh. Maybe that changes next week against the Rams. I don't know.
I think Aiden O'Connell is better than Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
He was very conservative in this game, a lot of pressure, but I think he is better than Gardner Minshew.
Let's see what happens next week.
Yep.
No Devontae Adams, no Jacoby Myers. Outside of Brock Bowers, it was a bunch of random dudes you can't really roster.
There's that, too, in the Aiden O'Connell corner.
What's that?
Ooh, he's throwing the ball.
Yeah, fair point. Bowers did great, though.
Yeah.
He is a silver lining in the offense. 10 targets, clearly led the team by a mile. He caught 9 of them for 71 yards and 16 PPR points. Just keep starting him.
Yeah, and I will also say Aiden O'Connell and Alexander Madison should have had touchdowns. That was a bogus call.
Yes.
Well,
Madison did. He should have had 2.
He should have had 2 touchdowns, yeah.
For sure.
But that should have been a touchdown pass from Aiden O'Connell to Alexander Madison. That was a terrible call.
Well, I saw it happen as I was sitting here at the computer. I looked up and I'm like, oh, Madison got another touchdown. And so I'm doing my thing. And I got to this game and was working on it. And I was like, wait, what happened to his other? So I did some reading. I'm like, oh,
nobody was downfield.
No.
It was a bad call.
That's a bummer. In 6 weeks, Brock Bowers has only given you single digits twice.
Yeah, and I think it's trending in the right. It's trending uphill.
More than the vast majority of tight ends can say.
Yeah.
So speaking of Madison, is he an ad based on volume?
Yeah.
Only 33 yards on 14 carries, and he only averaged 2.4 yards per carry. He did rush in for a touchdown, but 5 catches for 32 yards.
Yeah.
17 PPR points.
I don't think you're going to get huge numbers from Alexander Madison, but I will say that the combination of Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward has proven pretty tough to run the ball against.
Sure.
Like, you might get outside, but if you're trying to go inside against those two, it's not been happening for a lot of teams.
I just wanted to see very quick. Next week, the Raiders have the Rams. Wait, we already said that because Aiden O'Connell. So, yeah. He might be an ad.
Oh, yeah. I'd add him for sure. He's worth a roster spot, especially with bye weeks coming up. Good fill-in back.
Okay. Let's move on to the Falcons 38, the Panthers 20. The Falcons ran all over that terrible Panthers run defense. Bijan finally had the day you've waited like 6 weeks for. 15 carries, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.8 yards per carry, 3 catches for 10 yards, 25 PPR points. With this game, he has now topped 15 PPR points 1 time in 6 games.
Cool.
If you're struggling, sell high and redraft or hold.
Sell high.
And if you're competing, do you give up a little something to bring him in?
No.
You wouldn't?
No. Tyler Algier was still the better back in this game.
Well, let's talk about Algier. I would buy Bijan if I was on the other side of the... Okay. Algier, 18 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown, 5.8 yards per carry, 1 catch for 3 yards, 19 PPR points. I don't think we should get too excited. Carolina run defense is awful.
Yeah.
were obviously somewhat. It got a little more out of hand later.
Are you saying you would buy Bijan?
I would buy Bijan if I was a competing team. I would also sell him if I was a struggling team.
Okay. I'd sell him. I would not buy him.
Okay. We did say last week he should be considered a flex. They're playing Carolina. Kind of thought this might happen. I didn't think 19 points would. I thought 10 was definitely attainable. While he is, I believe while he's a solid running back, all he is overall at the end of the day is an annoyance to Bijan. Who in Algier is scoring somewhere between 3 and 7 PPR points a game. If you go back and look, like across all the games, it's between 3 and 7 PPR points. But this one, I think there's one of 11 there as well. If you have Bijan and don't have Algier, you need to find a way to get him rostered. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I just don't know as far as standalone value. Like you're the guy without Bijan and you have Algier. Because this is his games from week 1 till now is 2, 7, 3, 11, 6, 19. So I don't believe that Algier has standalone. He's going to have these outlier games where the Falcons are just handling their business, and it's like, well, why would we beat up Bijan?
I think it's more than him just being in the way. I don't think Tyler Algier is going away.
I understand that, but
that's why I'm not buying Bijan, because I think you're going to have to give up.
That name value is going to cost you.
Yeah, and you're not going to get that. I think you're going to get an RB2, and you're going to have to pay for an RB1.
We agree that Algier's got no standalone value. Correct. Outside of a game here or
no, but I don't think he's going away. He averages almost a whole yard per carry over Bijan as the season goes on.
I understand that, but I misunderstood. I thought you were leaning the way we came out of that Bijan.
I'm not buying Tyler Algier either.
No, I'm not saying that either.
Okay,
I just thought that you were leaning to the fact that it seemed like you were alluding to the fact that Algier has standalone value. I just wanted to bring some, but I think I misunderstood. I don't think you were going there.
No, it just makes me not want to. Algier makes me not want to buy Bijan.
Sure, he's involved enough. He's constantly stomping on his toes. I don't disagree with that. There's just part of me that's like, Bijan's too good. This has to get better as far as what he does with what he gets, but maybe not. It might be this outside zone thing Nick and I talked about is just killing this dude on top of Algier stepping all over his feet. So I guess a little skeptical to buy, but it would not be a bad idea to sell if you're struggling. I firmly believe that.
To your point, obviously Bijan is more talented too, but it feels like Tyler Algier fits this run scheme better.
Kind of feels that way sometimes, right?
Yeah, because he's not making the moves, but I mean, like I said, the guy has more yards per carry than Bijan for.
They're not giving Bijan
season.
anything up the middle.
No,
everything's on the outside. It's very odd. So again, a little skeptical on the buy side, but a struggling team who has Bijan, especially if you have both, sell it. Get something useful, because this is hurting you. I mean, you should be looking at way more 20-point games at this point.
Right.
Drake London and Kyle Pitts, the only two noteworthy pass catchers this week. London clearly led the pack with 10 targets, caught 6 for 74 yards and a touchdown, 19 PPR points. Yeah, he's seemingly a consistent wide receiver too, with one upside. Agree, Ty?
Yeah.
He is Cousins' guy.
Yep.
He's that dude. He feeds them. Mooney and McLeod combined for 9 targets. Again, Drake alone had 10. So if that helps. Kyle Pitts. I don't know what to do with this. Back-to-back weeks with double-digit points, 3 catches on 5 targets for 70 yards, 10 PPR points. If you've got him, you start him? Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay. He's still a little shaky, right?
Oh, yeah.
But again, I'm not saying it.
In this tight end environment.
You start the guy.
Yeah.
If he pops for a third week, do you move? Or is it like, no, I got a tight end who's actually doing something?
I'd chop him.
Yeah, okay. See what you can get.
Yeah.
Put some feelers out.
Yep.
Once again, Andy Dalton is competent enough to elevate the skill players into start-worthy territory. But is there concern or worry that they give Bryce Young another chance?
Yeah, there's some concern there. I don't know why you would, though.
Why either?
Other than the investment. That's
right.
I
hope not. Deontay Johnson, led the team in targets with 10, caught 6 of them for 78 yards and a touchdown. Rest of season, Deontay Johnson, a high-end flex or a solid receiver 2?
High-end flex.
Okay, and we'll call that assuming Dalton keeps the job.
Yeah.
Okay. Xavier Legette gave those who used him in a pinch 11 PPR points, only 4 targets, caught 3 for 24 yards and a touchdown. I'd say he's worth rostering. Maybe a low-end flex bye-week matchup dependent kind of deal. Would you agree with that, Ty?
Yeah, I'm probably not going after him, though.
Well, here's all I'd say. He's a guy who could gain some traction. It's not like an impossible feat. So my advice is, I think if you can add him, maybe you have an open spot on your bench, sure. Or maybe you had a speculative ad from a few weeks ago. Quentin Johnston?
That didn't pan out.
Maybe Quentin Johnston, okay? Who's done nothing. You could cut him and add Legette and just see what happens, right? I mean,
yeah. Okay, so here's, out of this game alone, I would add Jatavian Sanders over Xavier Legette.
Next note.
Okay, sorry.
Jatavian Sanders, 5 balls, 7 targets for 49 yards. We're just on the same page, you know?
Yeah,
That's what we do.
Sorry to jump the gun, though.
No,
Should have
that's
let
fine.
it develop a little bit.
No, it's okay. I am the host. Ty.
I am now your host, Tyler Bevel.
Jatavian Sanders, 11 total targets in the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
7 in this one. So signs of trying to start getting them more involved, like speculative ad or not falling for it.
No, I want to add him.
And you're going to add him over Legette.
Yep.
Would you add him over Quentin Johnston?
Yeah.
Ray McLeod.
Getting iffy, but I'm going to say yeah.
Okay. Chuba stays doing Chuba things. 18 carries, 5 catches, 23 total touches, 15 PPR points. I looked, matchup doesn't seem to matter much.
No, run him until
you
can't.
He's got Washington next. 15 or more fantasy points in 4 straight weeks. He's an RB2.
Yeah, and this could go for a while, even with the Jonathan Brooks thing looming. You don't think they're going to throw Jonathan Brooks in there. Like Chuba Hubbard, start him until...
It sounds like they're just getting ready to open the 21-day window.
Yeah,
so that could be almost every
But even when Jonathan Brooks is coming back, I'm not shying away from Chuba Hubbard until it proves me otherwise.
So the 31 or the 21 days, I mean, that's around 3 weeks.
3 or 4
Say
games,
they push that to just to almost 3 weeks they activate him. Well, you still might get a couple more. You might get 5 more weeks of Chuba.
Right.
You get to the point where there's a week left with just Chuba. Do you sell him to the Brooks manager, or are you trying to buy Brooks?
I would maybe actually make the argument to try and buy Chuba right now. Especially if you're a struggling team.
Get yourself back in the mix.
Yeah.
Then flip him to Brooks.
Because I think with all the Brooks news, you could probably get him cheap because guys are like, well, if I can get something for him because he's not going to be playing here in a couple weeks. Like, if you're like a 1-4 team or something like that, maybe go after Chuba.
That's a good call. I like that.
Yeah.
Looking at it from a whole different side. I like that. Yeah, listen, as long as it's still his backfield, you keep starting him.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the Lions, 47 at the Cowboys, 9. As far as the Cowboys go, I don't know what to say other than, ha! Mitchell, can you add...
Very professional, Chad.
Can you add the Nelson, ha ha,
yes,
from The Simpsons? All right, please do. No, seriously, things just, they don't seem to be clicking for whatever reason. Dak gave you 3 PPR points.
Oh.
Dowdle gave you flex numbers with 10. CD gave you 15, which you'll take, but... Really expected a boom week.
I talked myself into thinking this was going to be like a high scoring game.
Me too.
Started Dak over Jalen. Boy, was that terrible.
Yeah. Tolbert let us down. 8 PPR points. I thought a good 12 to 14 was in play there. And Ferguson with only 4. Is this a Mike McCarthy thing?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
The
Lions are rugged this year, but geez Louise.
Yeah. That's a weak pass defense, though. But listen, you got to think things get better here for CD and Dak, right? And even Tolbert, Ferguson, Dowdle, it's got to get better.
I'll say that this is an outlier. I don't think it's going to be like this all the time, but man, rugged.
It was a Detroit party. Jared Goff killed it on the road, man. 18 to 25, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 27 fantasy points. Tim Patrick joined the party, and Goff even got Khalif Raymond involved. Jamison Williams outdid ARSB this week, 17 PPR points to 13. It'll be St. Brown more often than not, but basically every skill player got involved. Even the previous mentioned receivers and Patrick and Raymond. But Laporta also got involved finally, albeit one target on a trick play for a touchdown, but he turned that one target into 12 PPR points. You'll take it, but man, when the Lions score 47 points, you'd think Laporta was more involved. Like, this has got to be getting really concerning.
Super disappointing.
It's so bizarre. One target, and it took a trick play.
Yeah. Just I was so high on him coming off of that rookie year from last year, and just I don't know.
Shame on us. I mean, I was too, man. I think everybody was, right?
Yeah.
Name one person who was like, Laporta sucks. Who said that?
Nobody.
Nobody. Everyone was high on him. All right. Detroit running backs, both with 12 carries. 1 catch for Montgomery, 3 catches for Gibbs. 21 PPR points for Montgomery and 11 for Gibbs. At this point in the season, total PPR points for Gibbs, 80. For Montgomery, 88. Rest of season, Montgomery or Gibbs?
Gibbs.
Man, you want to. I feel like you have to.
It's hard after a couple of them runs you seen Montgomery do last week.
All right, say you have both and we're thinking about like a handcuff situation in your redraft, which we know some people did. You're struggling at receiver. Which one do you move for the receiver in question? I'm keeping Montgomery and I'm moving Gibbs and getting more.
I think you'll get more. Yeah, sure.
Right?
I'll go along with that 100%.
Okay. All right. Put a little context to it. It kind of changes things, right? Yeah, that's wild. Where you got Monty and where you got Gibbs, that is absolutely insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's almost like the same output every week between the two of them. It's crazy. And it's both usable. My wife, Julie, has a league where she has Brees Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then later she got this is a 10-man league. Later she got Montgomery. Yeah, it's a 10-man league. It's a little remedial.
Yeah, but you can flex.
But she's been using all 3 of them.
Yeah,
it's been unbelievable. All right, let's move on to Sunday Night Football, our last game. The Bengals 17, the Giants 7. Boy, was that ugly. Like, you always look forward to Sunday Night Football, and gross, dude. I made like buffalo chicken dip. I had some good Tostitos.
This game was as bad as the opening song.
I'm just for real.
That drives me nuts. I hate
it. Dude, I was all comfy on Sunday night with snacks, ready for a good game, and I'm like, well, this sucks. I'm going to go watch the rest of it in bed.
Yeah.
It's just like no excitement at all.
I turned into that old guy, like, used to be your dad sitting there watching TV. Like, now the guy, as soon as she comes out, I'm like, wait, no. It's like, shut up.
Ty, is something wrong with the Bengals?
I don't know.
Like, the best play of the game was Burrow's ridiculously long touchdown run. That was the best play of the whole game.
Yeah.
That play saved his day as far as fantasy points go. He got you 19, only around 200 yards, no passing touchdowns, 4 carries for 55 yards. The long one obviously was in there, and a touchdown. Has Cleveland next. Burrow has scored 18 or more fantasy points in 5 straight games.
Okay.
Just keep them rolling.
Yep.
It feels like it's not that good, right? But when you go and look, it's like, he had 2 big spike weeks. But yeah, 18 or more fantasy points in 5 straight games. You keep starting a guy.
Yeah.
Chase and Higgins did not set the world on fire. 14 PPR points for Higgins and 12 for Chase. Chase still a receiver 1? Right?
Yeah.
Higgins still a 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it gets better for Chase.
I think so.
Higgins, I'm fine with. 14's fine.
Yeah.
You hope between 14 and 17.
Yeah, the Bengals were just terrible on 3rd down last night. It was bad.
So the 12 for Chase is a little but you're going to have.
I think that's why I still say the wide receiver 1, though. When you're calling 12, it's like, well, that's a wide receiver 1 because you expect more. You know?
Sure, good point. Tyler, this is Chase Brown's backfield.
I think it's starting to separate a little bit.
So I think the chapter's pretty well closed. It's so obvious to the eye. I mean, come on. He is so much more explosive than Moss. It's not close. Moss, 6 carries for 13 yards, 1 catch for 2 yards, fumbled the ball, got you a big goose egg after the fumble. It was all Brown.
I know, and Chase fumble later in the game. I was like,
yeah, it went out of bounds. Lucky. I lost my spot here. There it is. 10 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown for Chase Brown.
Had 2 catches for 11 yards.
Yep. 5.3 yards per carry, 2 catches for 11, 14 PPR points. The long touchdown run to seal the game was beautiful. Thing of beauty.
Yeah.
I believe he's cemented himself. And as of today, I'm calling him a high-end flex with RB2 upside. And after a week or two, I can totally see my mind being changed to just solid RB2. I don't want to go there quite yet. But if he's indeed taken over, I got to see it first. 14 carries, 5 catches to Moss's 4 carries and 1 catch. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Like where he is the guy.
Yep.
I think we might see something closer to that going forward.
I think it's coming.
Me too. Not a whole lot here with the Giants. Daniel Jones brought right back down to earth at home against a not very good defense. Hey, so when can we stop falling for this Daniel Jones thing?
3 years ago.
I'm so I like every time I hear someone like oh I'm picking up Daniel Jones. I'm like, you're falling for. I'm not falling for this.
No.
Like I didn't.
Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones.
Enough.
I think at this point.
Enough. As soon as you're like, oh, he's got a couple weeks of 20, I'm going to start him. He's looking better. Here's 11 fantasy points. Here's 5. Like stay away from this, man. Stay away. It's nothing he does is sustainable. Eventually, we got to learn this. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, they were started by some folks, and they were both flex-worthy. 10 PPR points for Robinson and 11 for Slayton. Just a kind of a mediocre day for the pass catchers all around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wan'Dale, that's pretty much. I think you can expect that from him even when Malik comes back. Darius Slayton, I don't feel that way about.
When Neighbors is there, Slayton is essentially trying to take the top off. He's just like running deep routes all the time. But right now, he's in Neighbors' role.
Yep.
So he's seeing some more stuff here. He's being used as more of a receiver one.
Yep.
Tyrone Tracy, however, he was catching passes. Caught 6 of them for 57 yards. Rushed 17 times for 50 and a touchdown. Only 2.9 yards per carry. But again, he did get in the end zone. And the pass catching work was great. 22 PPR points. Is there still concern for when Singletary returns, though?
I think it's still a split.
Still a split.
That's my guess. I think so. But I do think Tyrone Tracy has definitely carved out a role as the passing down back.
Yep.
And I think he'll get some touches on early downs too. But I think Devin Singletary is going to come back in there and get work still.
Does it deem them both kind of unusable?
I think it deems Devin Singletary borderline unusable and Tyrone Tracy is a lower end flex, if my prediction is correct.
I'll call them both low end flexes just because I don't know. Today, I don't know how this is going to work. See if you agree with this before we cut this thing off. I asked Nick last week this same question, essentially. Here's my reason why I wonder about Singletary. Dable comes to New York. He was in Buffalo with Singletary. Clearly brings Singletary over because he likes the guy. You wonder if there's like the respect factor. Know the guy, like the guy, brought the guy in for a reason. There's a relationship there. It just feels like when Singletary returns, he gets his role back with some sprinkled Tracy, or too good out of Tracy to do such a thing.
Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, I think it's more than a sprinkle, but I think Devin Singletary gets his early down roll back.
Okay, we're going to find out soon enough. I would imagine that Singletary is back next week. It sounded like he was close this week. So
there's some limited practices Thursday and Friday, I think, right? Yeah.
As long as he's back next week, all those people that picked up Tyrone Tracy and don't have Singletary are like, it just makes it's going to make it tough, man. That's it. That's all the games. Do you have any final thoughts? I'm glad you're back.
Thank you. Free Drew Lock and Jameis Winston.
Calling for Drew Lock.
Both of them. Daniel
All right.
Jones, get somebody else in there.
I'm
see what
definitely
happens.
calling for Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, he is the 32nd worst quarterback in the NFL. He's the worst, dude. He's terrible. Right? Is he not the worst quarterback in the whole league? Give me Gardner Minshew for crying out loud. Give me AOC. I don't care. Any final thoughts, Mitchell?
Nope. You guys pretty well handled it. Thank you, Ty, for coming. I know you had a detour and everything.
Yeah.
Appreciate the drive. You got here. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
And you killed a doe in Ohio?
I did.
All right,
Nice.
you got some meat.
I'm disappointed. Ohio's usually a better trip than that, but
Well, props to you.
yeah.
All right, that's it for today's show. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. Remember, our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings are now available in the description. Just click the corresponding link. They are available as well on our Twitter. Also, check the description for instructions on how to get your trades graded. Join us next time for our Week 7 Thursday Night Football and 1 o'clock Sunday game slate preview. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. It's how we survive. Please tell your friends. See you next time, everybody.
Love you.